Now Manchester City host Newcastle in the second leg of their Carabao Cup semi-final tomorrow, going into the game with a 2-0 lead. Ben Ransom was speaking to Pep Guardiola for us in the pre-match news conference. So, hi there, Ben. Look, big game tomorrow. A lot of the talk, of course, it was the day after deadline day about those transfers. What did you make of Pep's comments that he wants the club to spend more money? Or was it a bit tongue-in-cheek? I'm not sure.
I suspect, Hayley, it was a little bit tongue-in-cheek. I think what he has said a few times in this room is he's been unhappy, I think, with the criticism that's often levelled at Manchester City in that all of their success, if not a large part of it's down to just the amount of money they've spent. They've bought titles, that kind of thing. He's said it a few times in different ways. He's been quite playful around this subject lately because I think obviously with PSR and with the way the club is being run right now, they're very proud of the amount of revenue they bring in, particularly from the academy. And that obviously helps offset any of the spending they make. In this January window, you have to say, I put this to Pep Guardiola, that Manchester City probably had the best window of all clubs when you consider the calibre of the two players they got in through the door in the middle of a season, difficult window, to sign Antoine Semenyo and Marc Guehi for less than £85 million, both players who obviously have had great campaigns to now, but have also hit the ground running in City shirts too. That is the sort of thing that will just give them that boost that may well push Arsenal right to the wire in this title race and may well bring them trophies, perhaps starting with the Carabao Cup. They're, of course, huge favourites to make it through to the final, having that 2-0 lead. Today, then, was a bit more reflective given the fact that the transfer window has just closed. And here is exactly what Pep Guardiola had to say about the transfer window that the club have put together, specifically Hugo Viana, the director of football, who's been in charge of a January window on his own for the first time. And you were right to raise that point. It's probably tongue-in-cheek, but have a listen.
Yeah, really good. Really good. Hugo cheeky before, Hugo now. I'm a little bit sad and upset because in net spend the last 5 years, we are the 7 in the Premier League. So I want to be the first. I don't understand how the club don't spend more money. So I'm a little bit grumpy with them. But with that position like we won in the past, because we spend a lot, now 6 teams have to win the Premier League, and the Champions League is the FA Cup because they spend more in the last 5 years. This is a fact, you know. It's not, I would say, an opinion. You know, you can say an opinion, for example, like you say, you play good or play bad against the Spurs. So we can be agree or disagree, and but that is facts. So good luck for the 6 teams who are in front of us that spend net in the last 5 years. Let's go. I'm waiting.
Now, look, Ben, one player that did depart on deadline day was Calvin Phillips. What did Pep have to say about that?
Yeah, it's been a tough road, hasn't it, for Calvin Phillips since he moved here, really, in the summer of 2022. Was part of that treble-winning squad, but he barely featured in that first season when he was brought in to give competition to and hopefully take the pressure off Rodri. That was the idea. Never really got the minutes. Obviously, since then, he's struggled with injuries as well, had a couple of failed loan spells, it has to be said, at West Ham and then Ipswich, where it just didn't really work out for him either. So obviously Phillips will be hoping that a move down into the Championship, back to Yorkshire with Sheffield United for the rest of this season, will just give him the minutes he needs to start to regain some of his own form and confidence as well, because Pep Guardiola today explained that it's been a really difficult few years and months. He's been training back with the first team, but even that's not been straightforward because he's had continuous number of setbacks and particularly some niggly injuries he's had to overcome just to get back on the training pitch.
In the previous, and of course he have to take minutes to recover his best, and he has to play, have make some loans, and how he is as a guy, everyone is desperate to, you know, he can come back and play minutes and be his best.
It just really didn't or hasn't worked out to this point for him. How difficult has it been for him, do you think?
Yeah, it's true, but most of the time was for the setbacks for the injuries, have a long injuries, first half in the shoulders and after in problems with knees and ankles and hamstrings, and yeah, struggle with that. You have a player, not just Calvin, you have no continuity, you know, being available to play was more difficult.
Certainly the feeling here is there's a lot of goodwill in the direction of Calvin Phillips. Everyone hoping that he is able to play some significant minutes between now and the end of the season. Here, though, the focus, of course, is on the game tomorrow night against Newcastle, that Carabao Cup second leg, making sure they make it through to a Wembley final. In terms of team news, Jeremy Doku not going to feature. Ruben Diaz, we're told, is back in training. He could be around the squad, although you'd imagine he's more likely to be safe for the weekend if they can get him fit for that game against Liverpool. Ryan Shirky, you might remember, scored against Tottenham and then went off with a knock. Pep said they'll check on him this afternoon, but they're hoping that he'll be